match tonight here on Setanta Sports. And we'll be following Tyrone once again in our next live match on March the 10th with Páirc and Omagh for their Division 1A match against Donegal. And we've lots more live Alliance National Football League action for you throughout March and into the month of April. Now, if you're a Sky customer but not yet a subscriber to Setanta Sports and you want to see all those matches, here's how you get them. In the Republic of Ireland, call 0818 20 30 40. From Northern Ireland, dial 08700 50 69 59. If you're watching in the UK, the number is 08700 50 69 70. You can always log on to setanta.com or push the red button on your remote control right now. Gentlemen, we've talked up Tyrone to the hilt now. Cork really up against it. Paul, final thoughts as we head over to the match?
Yeah, they will be up against it. I agree with Eugene. I think it'll be a policy of containment earlier on. Swarm defence. The only difficulty is with the calibre players that Tyrone have, they're able to kick points from outside that congested defensive zone. Great to see Stephen O'Neill back, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play. One of the top 4 or 5 players in the country.
Eugene, very, very briefly, quick prediction.
Well, it's impossible to see anything other than Tyrone victory.
Okay. That's the thoughts from studio. Now let's sit back and enjoy the first half in the company of our match commentators down at Páirc Rinn Racehill. But first, Mike Finnerty.
Well, throw-in time fast approaching here at Páirc Rinn, and the stage set for the third round of the Alliance National Football League. Cork manager Billy Morgan turned 62 at the beginning of the month, but February has not been kind to him. 2 defeats means it's hardly surprising that he makes 4 changes to the side that lost to Kerry a fortnight ago. Owen Sexton is recalled to the defence, Dermot Hurley is in at midfield, and Kevin McMahon joins the attack at number 12. All 3 starting in this competition for the first time this season, while Alan O'Connor is a late addition on the 40. All-star Ger Spillane is at 6. Mickey Hart's biggest problem when picking his team seemed to be deciding who he'd leave out. Injuries are healing and players are finding form, so Hart makes 5 changes to the side that beat Fermanagh 2 weeks ago. Ger Cavlin and Stephen O'Neill start for the first time in the competition, with Cormac McGinley, Mickey McGee and Davy Hart all reinstated in the defence. Conor Gormley, Sean Kavanagh, Cavlin and Owen Mulligan form a sparkling midfield diamond, while Colin McCullough starts for the 3rd game in succession at number 13. Well, there's the Cork manager Billy Morgan, who, contrary to some speculation during the week, will be on the sideline for his team this evening, as Tyrone, who travelled down to Munster yesterday, stayed overnight in Tipperary last night in preparation for this fixture, form a huddle in preparation. Match referee tonight is Aidan Mangan from the Austin Stacks Tralee Club in County Kerry. Very experienced match official, and a man who I'm sure, like everybody else, is looking forward to a cracking game of football. Tyrone, under the management of Mickey Hart, have never lost to Cork in the National Football League. 3 wins and 1 draw is the record of Tyrone against Cork under Hart's management. And there you see the familiar figure of Brian Dooher on the bench for Tyrone tonight. Well, Páirc Rinn is filling nicely ahead of a make-or-break game in Division 1A. Victory for Tyrone tonight will put them within striking distance of the knockout stages, while a victory is a must for Cork. As we stand for the national anthem, our own Naveen. Well, Páirc Rinn is a lovely ground for a game of nighttime football. In fact, it was the first GAA ground in the country to install floodlights, and is named, of course, after the legendary Glen Rovers and Cork hurler Christy Ring. And tonight playing host to Cork and Tyrone in the third round of the Allianz National Football League.
Yeah, it's a fantastic night. There's a good buzz after the day that's in it. It's a good day for sport. So Cork could be looking to start well. They don't want to fall behind. Tyrone, very, very strong team, doing well. So good game in prospect.
Aidan Mangan is just about ready to get us underway. Tyrone will be playing in their traditional white strip with red cuffs and collars. Cork in the familiar blood and bandages, red and white. And Tyrone in this first half will be playing from left to right as you look at your screen. Cork captain Derek Kavanagh at midfield alongside Dermot Hurley. The ball is in, the game is on, and all eyes fall onto Páirc Rinn and Ger Cavlin straight away setting Tyrone on the attack. The familiar figure of Owen Mulligan racing out onto that ball. Right down the throat of Dermot Hurley, and some nice link play, but Noel O'Leary ran into traffic, and Cork take the free quickly. They'll be anxious to get off to a good start. Sean O'Brien clips that ball nicely into the lap of Kevin O'Sullivan, runs into a wall of Tyrone defenders. This is Sean O'Brien again, slipped through nicely. This is a chance for Donncha O'Connor right across. This is Alan O'Connor, blocked, superbly blocked. And Tyrone's defence back in numbers, and Dermot Carlin in the right place at the right time. Ger Cavlin goes striding away, a real let-off for Tyrone there. Cavlin, who played his first game of senior football with Tyrone 12 years ago, looking to involve Stephen O'Neill. The all-star Ger Spillane, and this is Michael Shields. Spillane continues his run, very rangy player, direct ball, well read, snuffed out, and an early involvement for Raymond Mulgrew. Scored a goal for Jordanstown in the Sigerson Cup during the week. Nice ball, inviting Ryan Mellon. He has Owen Sexton for company, back in the Cork team tonight. That ball just wouldn't come up for Mellon. Then he got a chance to swing. Safe hands from Paddy O'Shea. And now Dermot Hurley. This is Ger Spillane, who's really grown into that number 6 for Cork. Derek Kavanagh spots a run just out of the corner of his eye. Donncha O'Connor felt he was doing very little wrong there. Aidan Mangan says free to Tyrone. Plenty of space in these opening minutes as Sean Kavanagh goes galloping away. Dermot Hurley left in his slipstream, still Kavanagh eating up the ground. Good chance, he struck it well. That's a wonderful start for Tyrone and for Sean Kavanagh.
Very much so. 2 minutes on the clock, and already Sean Kavanagh has shown what he can do. You can see the pace of the man, great technique, pops it over the bar. Dermot Hurley has been playing very, very well at club level for Castlehaven, but it's a big step up. Great opportunity here. I think it's Alan O'Connor. He should have scored here. Good block, great defence, but I think he should have just dummied the side. But it's his debut, and a goal would have got the game off well.
So Tyrone out in front and enjoying the view as Paddy O'Shea drops that ball, knocked down by Cavlin, and Noel O'Leary first to react to the break. Again, looking for that direct ball, route one, but Tyrone's full back line slammed shut, and driving out comes Conor Gormley. They always seem to have so much time on their hands. 7 games unbeaten this season, and you can see the confidence in Tyrone, the way they throw that ball around. Raymond Mulgrew, nice ball. This is Stephen O'Neill, little pulse of anticipation, tried to throw that ball around the corner, but well read by Owen Sexton, and he won his free.
Yeah, already Tyrone look very, very composed. Good play by Owen Sexton to get back there. Stephen O'Neill has dropped out, but as you said, and you're dead right, there's a lot of time on the ball for Tyrone, and Cork need to cut that out.
Little bit of time now for Cork and Owen Sexton. Well won by Donncha O'Connor, who's drifted out from the edge of the square. This is Ger Spillane driving forward. Space on the far side. Peeling away is James Masters. Nice little sidestep to take himself away from Mickey McGee. shot though lacked the power to trouble big Pascal McConnell, and Tyrone can build again.
Yeah, lacked a little bit of purpose. The golden rule there is you put the ball dead or you score. You don't kick it into the goalie's hands.
Raymond Mulgrew working very hard down along the right hand flank. Tyrone content to hold possession. Mulgrew involved again. Anthony Lynch charging in from behind, and Ger Cavlin, who's back in a rich vein of form these days, takes the free. Again, O'Neill, the intended target. Michael Shields, he'll have his hands full tonight, you feel. Still O'Neill. Broken down by Colin McCullough. But again, Cork have plenty of numbers behind the ball, and Shields, the fullback, Ger Spillane, and the centre-back from Ballygarvan will let the ball do the work. First to react, Sean O'Brien. Nice little turn from Kevin O'Sullivan. Thought about the shot. Seemed to get caught in two minds then. But the danger still not cleared for Tyrone. This is Anthony Lynch. That's the equaliser. Patience is a virtue, and Lynch levels the match.
Yeah, there was a suspicion of off the ball here by Kevin McMahon. He just let that bounce up into his hand. It didn't bounce, that was a free out really, but Anthony Lynch, who had a very, very difficult time on Declan Quill the last night, is better at number 7.
So the sides are level. And Anthony Lynch, the two-time All-Star, kicked the score.
Yeah, this should be a free out there. He picks it cleanly off the ball. There was no foot, that was definitely a free out.
So all square as we tick towards the 6th minute. Big booming kick out from McConnell, but well claimed by Dermot Hurley. All alone. This is Noel O'Leary. O'Leary trying to get forward from wing back at every opportunity.
Noel O'Leary, he was unfortunately got a red card 2 weeks ago. Needs to cut out the fouling, but good to see himself and Lynch coming forward at speed.
Well, no doubt about it, in these opening minutes, Cork are trying to take the game to Tyrone. Derek Kavanagh with the free. Again, plenty of space for James Masters. Now Michael McGee arriving. Masters waiting for support. Comes from Donncha O'Connor. Very ambitious shot. And claimed by Cormac McGinley, but not fully cleared, and there's a chance. Well, it wasn't from the tactics manual or anything like it. It was a half chance at best, and Sean O'Brien just off target.
Yeah, Sean is there for his work rate. Nemo Rangers, very, very hard-working player. Not a man to score too much, but he's there for work rate. Big change there is that Kevin McMahon is in at wing forward in place of Alan Cronin. So they're looking for a bit of penetration from McMahon. But they were up for the game. I spoke to some of the guys before the game. They're very, very focused on getting a win here in Páirc Rinn.
Well, floodlights have been very kind to Tyrone this season so far. Already this month they've played 4 games under lights, winning all 4, and have yet to be beaten in 2007. Again, Donncha O'Connor, who's playing most of his football out around the middle third, waits for the run of Kevin McMahon, and Cork have engineered a free, and it was that man McMahon.
As I said, he's very strong on the ball. He takes the ball here, he goes into the tackle, and he gets pulled down. It's definitely a free in, but McMahon adds a bit of penetration, a bit of pace and a bit of power, all things that Cork need and a lot of.
So Kevin McMahon wins the free, and the man who'll take it is James Masters. They played minor football together for Cork 7 years ago, but now very much operating in the big leagues. And Masters, who on many occasions in recent seasons has been kicking the majority of the scores that keep Cork in contention. He struck that free perfectly, curled just inside the left-hand upright, and Cork lead after 8 minutes.
Very good technique. James Masters is a fine footballer from Nemo. He has been the main man for Cork up front. Hopefully for Cork to do well, they're going to need to spread those scores, but nice for him to get off the mark. He missed a few frees early against Kerry, so 2-1, who would have thought that?
5 points for James Masters now in the National Football League. Pascal McConnell waits patiently. Yet to concede a goal in the National Football League, the big goalkeeper from Newtown Stewart. Again, Cavlin is the intended target. Ball bobbling around, and eventually Noel O'Leary tidies up. And now Anthony Lynch. Tyrone trying to press Cork back in their own half. Little gap though. Alan O'Connor playing on the 40. looking to find Masters. Well read and snuffed out. And Conor Gormley, first time ball, poorly struck. Possession being turned over very cheaply as Anthony Lynch tries to set Masters in behind. But again, Cork not alive to it. And Davy Hart into open green pasture. Ball breaks into the path of Colm McCullough. Flicked inside to Mulligan. Just slipped away. Chance for Mulligan. Good save by Paddy O'Shea. And Kieran O'Connor there to help. And Anthony Lynch to complete the clean-up job.
Very good save by Paddy O'Shea. Mulligan got in the clear. Had the pass been a little bit crisper and a bit cleaner, I think there would have been a goal there. But Paddy O'Shea, who's in place for Alan Quirk, did the needful. As you can see, Colm, the pass just went a little bit far. Mulligan did the right thing, took it at place, and lucky for Cork that the right guy was in the right place.
Good stop from Paddy O'Shea. He's conceded just one goal so far in the league. Sean Kavanagh going to take Sean O'Brien for a run. Little shimmy. Still Kavanagh. This is Stephen O'Neill trying to use his strength. Good defending and driven clear. Donncha O'Connor competing for possession with Cormac McGinley. McGinley, who's beginning to make that number 3 jersey his own now. Good play. He's won his free.
Stephen O'Neill, what he's trying to do there is just slip a pass. Might have been pulled back, maybe a free in, but as you can just hear, yeah, he was pulled down there in that situation. But Cork doing very well containing Tyrone at the moment. A concern for me from a Tyrone point of view is that Derek Kavanagh is so big and strong in midfield. He's too powerful in there for Jared Kavanagh.
Michael Shields played under 21 with Cork last year, coming out the field to play a little bit of football. Slips through the arms of Dermot Carlin, but back to cover was Mickey McGee. Davy Hart shut down by Kevin McMahon. Owen Mulligan, nice pass to pick out Ryan Mellon. Support outside if he needs it. Still Mellon winding up for the shot. It's curling, but not just enough, and it all just seemed a little bit laboured there as Mellon shot for goal.
Cork 57% in the ascendancy, both on the field, on the scoreboard, in possession, doing very well at the moment.
So 45 to Tyrone, and a chance for Stephen O'Neill to kick his first score of this season's National Football League. Footballer of the Year 2 years ago, back in the Tyrone team after suspension. This chance to level the match. I struck it really well. That sailed between the goalposts. Beautiful technique, lovely strike, level again.
Quality scorer, left foot, player of the year 2 years ago. He is a wonderful footballer, particularly in his left boot, and he's helping us tonight. They were in those nice white going things, but fine score, 2-2. Tyrone just look a little bit more composed on the ball.
So level for the second time, and far from the easy stroll at Páirc Rinn for Tyrone that many would have predicted. Ger Cavlin looked to be leading with the foot there. Play on, says the referee. Cavlin makes some ground. Good ball. Stephen O'Neill always seems to be available. Paddy O'Shea, safe as houses, filling in for Alan Quirk, and very capably too. This is Alan O'Connor making his debut for Cork tonight. Strolling forward is the cornerback Owen Sexton, very experienced footballer, 10 seasons now in the Cork senior panel. A foul and a free.
As you can see, Jared Kavanagh coming very, very high, coming strong, like a boot in the back. Derek Kavanagh suffered a lot of pain there. I think Aidan Mangan needs to be sharper on that. That should have been a free and maybe even a booking for Jared Kavanagh.
Chance for Cork, the block. Masters with the shot, and McGee with the block. And Raymond Mulgrew, so intelligent, made himself available. This is Cavlin once more. Under pressure from Derek Kavanagh. Finds his man. That's Colm McCullough. Support comes from the wing forward, Colm Kavanagh. Telegraphed that pass. Might work out for Tyrone. Owen Mulligan is the player who's been fouled. But again, Tyrone not having it all their own way.
No, it's quite physical here. I think Ger Spillane comes in a little bit late. He stands down on his ankle. That's a very, very sore dose for Mulligan. That can lead to an Achilles, very, very good block down here. Masters is a little bit dependent on left foot, but good block there. But they'll be concerned for Mulligan, because an injury like that, when someone stands at it, good to see Aidan Mangan having a word with Joe Cavlin. Keep your legs down.
Well, Owen Mulligan has been patched up and is fit to resume, and the play restarts with a free to Tyrone. Cavlin to take. Again looking for O'Neill. He and Shields are having a titanic struggle. Cavlin again. Well, Ger Cavlin will be disappointed. He struck that just off the outside of the boot. But for a man who took a sabbatical from football last year, he's back in the groove.
Cork 2 out of 6, 2 out of 7, very, very similar. Poor quality game at the moment, only 2-2 after 50 minutes. Hopefully things will pick up from this.
Paddy O'Shea gets us underway. Into the break comes Conor Gormley, the all-star. Colm Kavanagh spots Raymond Mulgrew. Diagonal ball, but Sean O'Brien just tracking back. Good covering. And now Michael Shields. Much too loose, but it works out for the fullback. Eventually finds its way to Alan O'Connor. And now Dermot Hurley, the midfielder from Castlehaven. The ball went one way, Donncha O'Connor went the other. And again, it's a little bit untidy. Works out for Cork. This is Donncha O'Connor. Here, there and everywhere inside that final third. Well, you can see what he was thinking, and Kevin O'Sullivan does really well to keep that ball in play. But it's that man, Raymond Mulgrew, who's back to cover. Well, possession is being turned over very cheaply. Justin McMahon trying to set Owen Mulligan off on the run. Foul by Ger Spillane, says the referee. Well, we're just approaching the end of the first quarter. Justin McMahon playing in just his second game with the Tyrone senior football team. Here he is again, stealing forward from wing back. Again, though, the pass much too loose, and Tyrone are taking a little while to settle into their familiar stride. Kevin McMahon, no such trouble. Looking for Masters. Good defending by Mickey McGee. And a line ball. Masters takes the line ball himself. The marking is much too loose from Tyrone. This is Derek Kavanagh. Chance to kick Cork into the lead. Well taken by big Pascal McConnell.
Cork have done that too often, and too often occasions they've given it back to the big guy. He works it out. That's right into Tyrone's bower. They need to put the ball dead or score.
The foot passing has been extremely poor in this first quarter. Donncha O'Connor trying to pull away from the mass defence. Bottled up. And Kevin McMahon couldn't resist the temptation. Free out.
Yeah, and you saw the Donncha O'Connor. I don't think he's a big enough man to be soloing into the tackle like that. You need faster layoffs and a little bit more pattern to their play.
Owen Mulligan, and again possession is turned over. It's certainly not the football of the purists in the first 18 minutes.
Yeah, to be fair, the pitch is quite poor. There's a lot of slipping going on. It's been a lot of rain in Cork, but still, that's no excuse for the standard of play.
Masters out on the left wing. Nice ball to pick out Kevin O'Sullivan. Room for him here to shoot. Again, just came off the outside of the boot. Kept in play. And eventually it works out for a 45.
Very interesting to hear, but he puts his boot on Derek Kavanagh. That's not acceptable. I think that's a yellow card at least. And here again, that's completely, that, like, Aidan Mangan has spoken to him, but I think that should be a yellow card. It was dead in front of him. But the problem for Cavlin is he's not as big a man as Derek Kavanagh, so therefore he's trying to compromise. But if you're playing in that position, I think then on the next kick out you'll be tempted to take some redemption.
Well, Cork will be quite pleased with the first 18 and a half minutes. Missing tonight the likes of Graham Canty, John Hayes, Alan Cronin, Fintan Gould, and of course Nicholas Murphy, who was ruled out just before the throw-in due to illness. but on level terms. And now James Masters with the 45. He struck it well, it's got the distance, not the accuracy, just wide.
Difficult, good kick, but the difference is James Masters had an opportunity there, he missed. Up the other end, Stephen O'Neill scored, and I suppose that's just a little difference why Tyrone are in the top 3 or 4 teams and Cork might be in the top 8 or 9.
Well, of course, since Tyrone's last outing in the National Football League, they picked up the McKenna Cup title last weekend, as Donncha O'Connor received some running repairs. Full forward from Ballydesmond, who's roving this evening, much like Kevin McMahon. Midfield bypassed by that kick out. Cavlin, who's been involved heavily so far, as has this man Raymond Mulgrew. Did well to scoop that ball, and away he goes. Again, the ball went one way, the forward the other, and Cork's defence, who have been miserly in this competition, come across to snuff out the danger.
Very nice bit of play there by Michael Shields from St Finbarrs. He was an under 21 player last year. He's doing very, very well on Stephen O'Neill. He's playing football, and you have to do that with O'Neill.
Here's James Masters trying to get on the ball and get involved. In over the top for O'Connor. Here's a chance. Good stop by Pascal McConnell. Kevin O'Sullivan to take his point, and sensibly so. Cork are back in front. Kevin O'Sullivan with his first score.
And Tyrone were looking, there wasn't a goal that could have either been a penalty or definitely a goal, but I think O'Sullivan very much the right option. Pop it over the bar, puts them back in the lead. Yeah, you'd have to feel that was a penalty. Michael McGee is a little bit short, and the high ball can cause him a bit of difficulty. I think Billy Morgan has told his guys to get the ball in early and get the ball in often.
So a quarter of an hour or thereabouts remaining to half time, and Cork lead as Tyrone stick to the game plan. Ger Cavlin, good ball to pick out Colm Kavanagh. Noel O'Leary tracking with him, still Kavanagh. Good strong run. Free in, says Aidan Mangan. And certainly Colm Kavanagh on the run is a handful. And Noel O'Leary is learning that firsthand.
Yeah, Noel O'Leary has had a difficulty in the last few seasons of taking a lot of ticks and a lot of yellows. Too high around the neck, there can be no complaints. In fact, you would feel, admittedly he was pulled in a little bit, but you would feel he was lucky to get away with a tick.
So Colm Kavanagh wins the free, his brother Sean to take it. This to level the match. Drifting away, kept in by Stephen O'Neill, playing cat and mouse with the fullback Michael Shields. O'Neill, again good defending by Shields. Very accomplished defender, just 21 years of age. Alan O'Connor, and back to Shields. Looks every inch the senior footballer tonight. Good ball to pick out Derek Kavanagh, in bravely. And now Donncha O'Connor, very much the third midfielder. Plenty of space, still making ground, unimpeded. Picks out the run of Sean O'Brien. Support is there from Masters. The ball just squirming away. Masters does well. Masters, good score. He is so dangerous. Masters by name, Masters by nature. Double scores.
Yeah, I think it was a ball that should have it was a goal a score that Tyrone should clear it, but Michael Shields does ever so well here. Stephen O'Neill in possession, maybe a little bit rusty, but as you can see here, the hand comes in, the little flick, that was all set up by that man, Michael Shields. That should have been clear, but Masters is very, very sharp, and you can see Cork going in a little bit of confidence, and Tyrone haven't scored in over 10 minutes at this stage, and that'll be a concern.
Well, the bookmakers will also be concerned with Cork in the lead.
For no clean catch, mainly breaks, not much between them, but Derek Kavanagh is doing well around the middle, and a concern for Mickey Hart will be that maybe Kevin Hughes needs to come in to add a bit of bulk around there.
Well, Tyrone, the red hot favourites, are being pinned back right now. Latest chance there falling to Kevin O'Sullivan. Well, the crowd still filing in through the turnstiles after that rugby international, of course. And those that got here early, those of a Cork persuasion, well, they'll be pretty pleased. Tyrone supporters, they've travelled in huge numbers, but one man who's not here tonight, their chairman, Pat Darcy, as he is attending the Ardbow Club banquet in Ballymena.
As you can see from that kick out, Alan O'Connor got it. I think Mickey Hart has to be concerned that their midfield is not dominating, and the two big guys, Kavanagh and Hurley and O'Connor, are winning a lot of the varied possession.
Kevin McMahon did well to get that ball away. Donegal O'Connor, loose men everywhere. One of them is James Masters. Another one is the supporting Donegal O'Connor. Has to go back out again. Derek Kavanagh kicking ambitiously from the right wing. Might work out for Alan O'Connor. In bravely there went a Tyrone defender. But again, they haven't cleared their lines convincingly. And Raymond Mulgrew tidies up, takes the return. Very nimble Raymond Mulgrew, still holding up that ball. Tyrone effectively down to 14 men now. One of their players injured in that last passage of play. Davy Hart. Tyrone this time attacking down the right hand side. Stephen O'Neill, very much the go-to man. Shields standing his ground. Nice little pop pass to Hart again. Little static inside. He goes back to Cavlin, and Cavlin's ball cut out by Owen Sexton, and Cork will build from the back.
Yeah, but it was a poor ball. Owen Sexton was in the lead. Cavlin should never have played that pass. If I was a manager now, Brian Dooher would say Philip Jordan and particularly Kevin Hughes on the bench. I might leave it at half time, but at half time I'd have some serious words with some of these guys.
Cork now growing in confidence. Noel O'Leary, poor ball. There were plenty of options. Now Raymond Mulgrew, the young student at Jordanstown, is handling so much ball, took too many steps. Cork have the free. Donegal O'Connor very much directing operations. James Masters again in oceans of space. Pushed to the sideline, back to O'Connor. Now Sean Kavanagh arriving to put in the challenge. Noel O'Leary waiting. Masters, the Tyrone defence just stuck to the ground almost. Ger Spillane, Anthony Lynch, there are runners everywhere. Lynch, back to Spillane. Round the corner, he struck it well. That's a wonderful score from Ger Spillane, and Cork are moving through the gears sweetly.
Fine kick. Anthony Lynch set it up. Very good play. Recycled the ball, always laid back. Fine kick by Spillane. Mulligan hasn't scored by my reckoning, where Spillane has. Alan O'Connor, fine fetch. He's a big, strong guy. He has added a lot tonight. The only thing I would say is when we watched with Setanta, when we watched Dublin against Tyrone were very poor until the second half. They're a team that can turn it around.
Big night for Alan O'Connor from the St. Colum's Club, a junior club here in County Cork. But he is settling in nicely, as are his teammates. 3 points clear now after 27 minutes. Cork's legendary defence clear their lines. Good battle. Dermot Carlin wins this latest one. Mulgrew again. And now Colin McCullough, who's gone drifting out the field to get on the ball. That pass just hung in the air, took the momentum out of that move. Now Davy Hart. Stephen O'Neill trying to peel away from Shields. Shields forcing him out. Still O'Neill. Very tight angle. That's a magnificent score from Stephen O'Neill. There was nothing on. The full-back shut down the angles. O'Neill gets his score.
Class kick. Where was the angle there with a wonderful kick? And very important, Tyrone hadn't scored since the 12th minute, so coming up to 16 minutes, and you described him as the go-to man. That's why he is that player. Super scorer. Unbelievable that 67, and a great statistic from the point of view, 67 hand passes and 33. Some people would say that's one of the problems of the game. 100 hand passes already, that's probably too much in Gaelic football. I personally would prefer to see more kicking in the game.
So the Tyrone captain tonight, Stephen O'Neill, off the mark, and the gap is back to 2 points as we swing towards the home straight at the end of this first half. James Masters, lovely ball. Kevin O'Sullivan, men inside roaring for it. O'Sullivan goes for his own score, and why not? Beautiful kick from Kevin O'Sullivan. If you at first you don't succeed, try again.
Great angle. The secret of that score being so good is he didn't solo, he didn't hop. very difficult to defend. He's playing well, and Cork are going in confidence. They were a fantastic outside bet at the moment. I think most people would have gone for Tyrone, but great score.
That's 2 points now for Kevin O'Sullivan.
28 minutes match time, 16, not bad. Sometimes you can see that worse. While the game is scrappy, at least both teams are doing their best to get on with the thing.
Well, Cork, who up to now in this competition have found it hard to get scores, not tonight. Here's McCullough looking for one of his own. That's a real corner forward score, like a vulture, waited for the break and popped the snapshot over the bar.
Good lay down, very, very quick. Again, no solo, no hop. All of a sudden, unbelievably, the game has picked up in quality and pace. We've got 3 or 4 scores very quickly, and the game is very impressive at the moment.
Well, Colin McCullough announced his arrival in the National Football League when he came off the bench against Dublin, and that's now 5 points in the competition for the corner forward. Well, Tyrone are making a change. They've taken out number 12 Colm Kavanagh and brought in number 23 Enda McGinley. Well, Mickey Hart has got it right so many times in the past. Perhaps Colm Kavanagh is carrying an injury. Here's the man he was marking, Noel O'Leary, Kevin McMahon. Cork's attack moving much more fluently tonight. Back to McMahon, kicking with the left. Drop short, and Tyrone have possession.
A fantastic clip there where Owen Mulligan was standing on his own 40 and Ger Spillane was powering up. It's the Cork half-back line of O'Leary, Spillane and Lynch that are driving on the play at the moment.
Again, a little scrappy sequence of play. Tyrone get their free. Well, amazingly, before tonight, Cork had registered just 13 scores in the National Football League, just 9 points. They've kicked 6 here in half an hour.
Yeah, moving well, a lot of confidence in their play. A concern is that they've had goal opportunities and they haven't taken them. So from that point of view, you know, Cork have been in the ascendancy. The statistics have proven that, and yet they're not far enough away.
There's Billy Morgan, 62 years of age this year, his 3rd stint as Cork senior football manager, and I'm sure feeling pretty pleased at the moment.
30-29, that's 59 versus maybe at this stage 110. Not enough kicking, too much hand passing, and yet the quality of the game is fairly good, but maybe better direct kicking would be better. Cork in the lead, and one thing there, the amount of missed passes by Tyrone is poor.
So Tyrone, who will be anxious now to finish this first half with something of a flourish. They often play much of their best football in the second half. The last couple of minutes haven't been bad either. Sean Kavanagh, Dermot Hurley just tracking his run. Kavanagh, that little shimmy, but Hurley didn't buy, and now Kavanagh waiting for the cavalry. Poor ball, asking an awful lot of Colm McCullough, who still is in there battling, but Alan O'Connor did well. And now Donncha O'Connor, he might be wearing number 14, but it means very little tonight. He's going where needs must. Shields. This is James Masters. Look where the corner forward is. And that pass just screwing off his boot. But Cork's forward line moving wherever the needs dictate.
Very much Donncha O'Connor from Ballydesmond in particular. As you can see, Cork 55-45. That's a fair reflection of the situation. I think statistically that actually works out the same as the score. Masters 2, Kevin O'Sullivan 2. But for me, the key reason that Cork are in the lead and doing very well is Noel O'Leary, Ger Spillane, who scored, and Anthony Lynch have dictated everything to the Tyrone half forward line.
So the Cork captain, Derek Kavanagh, takes this line ball, finds his man, Anthony Lynch. Lynch, who's beginning to get his groove back tonight. Now Kevin O'Sullivan. Cork in no rush to give away possession. James Masters spots inside. Alan O'Connor pop back to Kevin O'Sullivan. Well, you could see what they were thinking, but not executed the way they would have liked.
Lovely little kick in there by James Masters. Great pass. Could have been a score there. Probably would have been. I think Ger Spillane, nice layoff. But one thing that has been very noticeable, 2 weeks ago, Anthony Lynch was cornerback. Declan Quill scored 6 points off him. Lynch 6 out of 16 for Cork, 4 out of 10 very poor by Tyrone. The quality, the finish isn't good enough really, but going back to my point about Anthony Lynch is a better number 7 by far than cornerback. I think Billy Morgan and Declan Quill proved that conclusively.
So Cork enjoying a 2-point cushion, well taken by Dermot Hurley, getting through an awful lot of hard work, making the hard yards. Ger Spillane on the burst in full flight. Foot block, says Aidan Mangan. Cork thought about the quick one, but sensibly call out their place kicker.
But as I pointed out, it's Ger Spillane's powerful running. Owen Mulligan needs a serious talking to the half-time. As you can see, blocked down, but it's the power at which Spillane is coming. A fine catch here by Kavanagh. The problems for Tyrone are simple. Their half-forward line are working, and they've been badly beaten at midfield.
So out comes Cork's place kicker himself, James Masters. 1 point from a free so far, and this would be a lovely way for Cork to finish the first half. Should be well within his range. Greasy surface. This to leave Cork 3 in front. Just tailed away, and James Masters will be disappointed.
Definitely, and that could make all the difference. He's missed a 45. Good technique. At the same time, quality players seem to slide off his boot, but you need to be scoring those. That was a great situation to be going in at 3. They're probably just going 2 at this stage.
So Pascal McConnell pulled off a good save early in this first half to preserve his clean sheet in the National Football League so far. Finds his man with the kick out. Well taken by Justin McMahon. Now Kavlin. Very experienced, doesn't want to give away possession easily. And in the end, Justin McMahon just ran out of road, ran down a cul-de-sac. And at this stage, it's Cork who very much hold the whip hand. Punched in by Donncha O'Connor. Justin McMahon, and now Davy Hart. Sean Kavanagh. Good ball into space. Play on, says the referee. This is Colin McCullough away from the corner back. Tracking is Kieran O'Connor. McCullough bringing that ball into contact. Support comes from Sean Kavanagh. Now Davy Hart. Nobody in that scoring zone. Nobody with the Tyrone jersey at least. And James Masters, the right corner forward for Cork, is the player who clears his lines. Now Ger Spillane. Alan O'Connor. Tyrone funneling back, trying to cut off the options for Cork. Nice ball from Ger Spillane. Noel O'Leary puts the head down and away he goes. Chasing back furiously is Ryan Mellon. This is Kevin O'Sullivan. Confidence is high after 2 points. Now McMahon. McMahon kicking from out there on the right wing. Very, very close. Just wide. That's 5 wides for Cork.
5 wides, and at the Detched field that could be an issue. He's blowing up for half time, but 5 wides to Cork, and Tyrone playing poorly but only 2 down.
So half time here at Páirc Rinn. Cork jogging off the field, feeling very satisfied with themselves. Half time score: Cork 6 points, Tyrone 4 points.
Should have been a bit greater than Tyrone's, and they started very well. The stats show that they're well on top possession-wise. They've kicked, I think it is 15 shots at goal. They've had some good points. They've dropped a few into the goalie's hands as well. But by and large, they're dominant in their defence. And some of the Tyrone key players down the centre line aren't as dominant as you'd expect. And I think Mickey Hart will be having harsh words about lack of work rate in that first half at half time. Yeah.
Eugene, Cork perhaps could have and should have had a penalty quite early in that match, would have put them even further ahead. Donncha O'Connor, tell me what you think about this. He's through and seems to be pulled back ever so slightly.
Well, yeah, Donncha O'Connor, he's going through here, and he had his hand out to get the ball. Now, whether that Tyrone defender pulled him, he made an attempt, all right, but didn't really succeed. So I think the referee, he probably let advantage flow, and he saw the way the thing devolved. And of course, it went to Kevin O'Sullivan, who fisted it over a point. Anyway, but you couldn't, if you were nickety-pickety about it. You could give him a penalty, all right, but I mean, I wouldn't have, no.
But the interesting thing, Eugene, as well, about when you looked for the referee was standing for that decision, he was 50 yards away from the play.
Well,
so another argument for the two referees, perhaps, in the modern game, with the pace of the game, you know.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of well-taken points. We've had a number of goal opportunities as well. That was one of them. There was also a couple for either side early in the match. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, there was one very early on, Cork, and it would have been a great fill-up for them in the first couple of minutes, where I think it was Alan O'Connor that got an opportunity earlier on. You know, I think we'll see it here developing here. Some good movement here, some good support play by the Cork forward line. And again, when he turns back onto his right foot, and of course all the defenders and the goalkeeper make themselves very, very big. Now, you know, if that was a Gooch or maybe a more experienced player or a two-sided player, could have got onto his left foot and slotted it low inside. But a young and experienced player, perhaps. Here's the second opportunity later on. Owen Mulligan pulls on this. Probably the hand pass pushed him away a little bit from the goal, and maybe Owen should have just popped it over the bar. In fact, that was probably the only time Owen Mulligan has been on the ball actually in the first half. You know, which is a good tribute to the Cork half backline, Ger Spillane in particular.
Yeah. Eugene, we spoke at length about James Masters in the build-up to the game. What do you make of his
Well,
first half?
he certainly produced a good, a lot more substantially tonight than he did against Kerry. You know, he got some of his frees tonight. Now he missed a free as well, but in general he's more active. I mean, the whole thing about Cork tonight is they're working hard, far harder than Tyrone, and Tyrone has all the surprise when anybody works harder than them, because work is the Tyrone ethic above all other ethics.
A good reaction, because he lost play initially, but he reacts very quickly.
He's battling. We saw him one time back in the 14-yard line, his own 14-yard line. You know, and that's a wide. You know, he has had a couple of wides, and I suppose it's a difficult night there. That pitch seems to be very wet at that end. The thing about Tyrone tonight, they're being outfoxed at their own game. Cork went out and they ran all over the field. They forgot about the positions they were in, and they got a little lead. And the game that Tyrone plays, which is hunting back and practicing defence, that can only work when you're ahead by definition. You can't be defending if you're trying to get scores. So Cork in the first half, they played the game that Tyrone least liked. That is, they got the little lead and they began to run all over the field, and Tyrone had no option but run after them. So the whole Tyrone game plan is out the window tonight. Nothing happened that we associated with Tyrone. It'll be interesting to see at half time now. I'm sure Mickey Hart will read the riot act, because a lot of the players didn't put in the effort required at this level. They didn't match Cork's effort. And I mean, after travelling down to Cork last night at Tipperary, Mickey Hart will not be pleased with that. No manager will be pleased with it.
Paul, at one stage during the opening half there, we could have been watching an Aussie rules match, because Jerry Cavan used the boot to get a little bit of hang time in the air. Talk us through this incident. I don't think the referee actually even gave a free for this. We think it may have been certainly a ticking or even a yellow card.
Yeah, well, there it's very, very clear that he uses the boot in the back of, I think it was Jerry Cavan, to gain, if you like, propulsion or leverage to get up in the air, and that is the Australian rule technique, which is allowed in their game but is clearly not allowed in our game. You're not allowed to put the foot in the back and use the opponent, if you like, to get up in the air and catch the ball. So, you know, that's dangerous play and probably should have been classed as a yellow card. Now, I think the referee, to be fair to him, you know, we saw it in the pictures that he did have a word with him afterwards and gestured to him about that type of activity, that he probably wasn't going to be accepted any longer. But, you know, you're allowed to some extent, if you want to jump in the air, you're allowed to get your knee up in the air and try and generate propulsion from that way, but not certainly kicking in the back like that.
I think mentioning yellow cards, I mean, tonight just emphasises the seesaw attitude of referees to yellow cards. I don't think we've had one yet, right? Yeah. And some matches at this stage would have had 9 or 10. You know, the whole thing about yellow cards is a total and absolute mess, because there were a couple of occasions there should have been a yellow card. Going on what has been done in previous matches that we saw here, such as the Dublin-Tyrone match. So it just shows like there's a long way to go before there's any standard approach to the issuing of yellow cards by referees.
Well, the referee and his umpires out on the pitch at Páirc, and no sign of the teams just yet. Eugene, you were saying that you reckon there will be harsh words in the Tyrone dressing room. Do you think they can come back and win this match?
Well, they're capable of, as we saw against Dublin. And they're playing very poorly. And Mickey Hart, I'd say, is infuriated, because I mean, it's very annoying for a manager when he puts out a very strong team like that and they play like that. So I mean, they're capable of rising the game now. This is a big test for Cork now. They've shown that on the first half they have the tactical nous, if you like, to put Tyrone under pressure, severe pressure, and upset their game plan. So we have to wait and see now, can they keep that up? You know, it'll be a terrific game for Cork to win now. And you know, I meant to say at the start of the game night that maybe Tyrone's campaign this year has been a honeymoon variety, and that it couldn't go on forever. That everything was going right for them. They were winning every match they played. They were bringing back another big star like O'Neill tonight, and you know, it seemed to be perfect. It seemed to be a dream world. But football isn't that sort of a you don't. That's not the world that football is sport occupies.
So, in a word, your money's on Tyrone then to come back.
I'd expect them to, if they're going to live up to their reputation,
Paul, how do you see it?
Yeah, I think the big players down the centre of the spine of Tyrone team are not performing. Kavanagh, Cavlin, O'Mulligan and Stephen O'Neill. Now, it's very rare that those 4 players don't have a good half.
Yeah.
And so you'd expect them to get more into the game in the second half.
Like we saw against Dublin. OK, Tyrone coming out. Time to get you back to Páirc Rinn in the company of our match commentary team of Ray Silk and once again Mike Finnerty.
And you're very welcome back to Páirc Rinn on a crisp, cold Saturday night here in Cork City. But the locals will not be concerned just now. There's a check on your teams that will start this second half. No changes for the second 35 minutes. And as you can see, number 23, Enda McGinley, into that Tyrone team, replacing Colm Kavanagh midway through that first half. Cork, number 22, Alan O'Connor, in case you joined us late, he started at centre half forward in place of Nicholas Murphy, who misses out tonight due to illness. Well, a lot made in the modern Gaelic games of passion and work rate and organisation. They are 3 of the primary reasons why Cork lead here at half time by 6 points to 4 and are set up quite nicely, Ray, for their first win in this National Football League.
Well, their backs are to the wall. They have to play well tonight. If they don't win tonight, they're looking at maybe Division 3. Now, as a goalman, I'd have to be concerned with that as well, because we could be in the same situation. But they're working very, very hard. I'd be concerned that they haven't scored enough, considering the amount of possession they've had.
Match referee Aidan Mangan from Tralee in County Kerry. He is one man that will have a short journey home tonight. Tyrone, they are overnighting in Tipperary, travelling home tomorrow. It'll be a very long journey indeed if they travel back empty-handed. Ball is in, Tyrone playing in this second half from right to left. Cork 2 points in front, and I'm sure hoping now to push on and drive that advantage home. Alan O'Connor, early touch for the centre forward. Lateral movement from Cork, Noel O'Leary into the space. Tyrone, with I'm sure the words of Mickey Hart ringing in their ears, try to build from the back. This is Enda McGinley, plays his club football with Ergil Kieran. Across to Ger Cavlin. Again, the greasy conditions make handling extremely difficult. And out comes Anthony Lynch. Quick hands from Cork. This is Sean O'Brien from Nemo Rangers. A workhorse in that half-forward line. Can kick a pass too. Nice one to James Masters. Being picked up by Mickey McGee again. That was a kick more in hope than expectation from Masters. And Tyrone, through Justin McMahon, clear their lines. Now Raymond Mulgrew, who's wearing that number 10 jersey, just like the usual wing forward Brian Dooher tonight, working so hard. Enda McGinley just in a little tangle there with Derek Kavanagh, and Tyrone get the free.
Noel O'Leary again, it could have been a free, but when a player's backing into that, you need a better defence, fast feet, push him back, stop his momentum, and then the free goes the other way. Noel's playing long enough now, he should have learned that at this stage.
Sliding tackle, play away, says Aidan Mangan. Dermot Hurley trying to drive out through a gap that really didn't seem to exist, but he's got his free. Cork now just trying to control the pace and tempo. Michael Shields, such an assured first half from the young fullback. Good ball into the space in front of Donncha O'Connor. Man racing outside him is Sean O'Brien. Instead, O'Connor goes inside to Masters. Masters kicking. Oh, that's a wonderful score from James Masters. So confident, composed and assured, and Cork lead by 3 now.
You lead by 3, but very poor defending by both Dermot Carlin and Michael McGee. You can't let Masters have that much time. Look how much time he has. They're not close enough. It's easy to talk about it, but they've got to get in on his left boot and get there quickly. Mickey Hart will be very annoyed, and I don't blame him. But one quick thing, Mike, both Kavanagh and Hurley at midfield are dominating the aerial possessions, and that's why they're winning.
And number 10, Sean O'Brien, is hobbling as Tyrone take the kick out quickly. They're in a real game now, 3 points behind. Conor Gormley, how they need their all-star centre half back to get into this game. Dermot Carlin, ball just like a bar of soap. Carlin does well, makes some ground.
definite free in. Tyrone need to move the ball. Gerald Cavan is on the ball now. They need to move it a little bit faster. They're allowing Cork too much time to get too many bodies behind the ball, and that's why it's all saturated in there.
Cavlin's delivery might break for Stephen O'Neill, trying to get onto that trusty left boot. Trusty, that's just why. So simple and so effective. The gap is back at 2.
He did very well to swing a leg at that. I thought he was blocked out. That's his 3rd point. He's captain for the evening, and if you take Stephen O'Neill's contribution out of it tonight, Tyrone have been exceedingly poor.
Well, Stephen O'Neill is worth his weight in gold to this Tyrone forward line. 2 All-Stars, 2 All-Ireland senior medals, and 3 points tonight. We've a 2-point game, and this is set up for a ding-dong second half. Again, no clean possession. Owen Sexton back to mind the house. Here's Sexton once more, and the man in space is Kieran O'Connor from Ahada, the same club as the great Conor Coonahan. Now Noel O'Leary switching wings, breaking down the left, back to Hurley. Good ball. Cork holding up possession. Kevin McMahon. Donnoch O'Connor waiting for McMahon to arrive. Still McMahon. Dermot Carlin is just trying to push him out. Very strong wing forward. Good defending by Conor Gormley. Read that situation really well. Dermot Carlin. Poor ball. Cork pushing Tyrone backwards. Loose man is Ger Spillane. Pass just overcooked, and in comes Kavanagh, the man that makes Tyrone tick. This is Justin McMahon, younger brother of Joe. Stephen O'Neill out on the flank now. Shields again making himself big. Good block by the fullback. He looks every inch the inter-county fullback.
You'd have to ask what Stephen O'Neill was intending to do there. There was no one in front of the goal. He should have turned around and laid that ball back, and I suppose for us mortals it's nice to see even the stars making mistakes like that, but a fundamental error.
Hand in there by a Tyrone player, just enough to disrupt the momentum. Anthony Lynch, and now Derek Kavanagh. Possession so hard won, but kicked away by Kavanagh. And again, Mickey McGee in the right place. And now Ger Cavlin finds Ryan Mellon. Man on the overlap is Sean Kavanagh. That familiar loping stride. Scored a goal last Saturday night in the McKenna Cup final. How Tyrone need a goal now. This is Stephen O'Neill. He's the meat in a Cork sandwich. Free in, says Aidan Mangan. And Anthony Lynch is the picture of frustration.
Well, an effective giving away a score. You'd have to expect Tyrone are going to score this. O'Neill does well. He gets up. He doesn't look fully match fit to me, but it was a harsh free there in Anthony Lynch, and you can see he's annoyed about that. Fine block by Michael Shields. No need for Stephen O'Neill to have kicked in that situation, though he had support behind.
Chance for Tyrone to narrow the margin. Wide miss by Owen Mulligan, and I think fair to say he's been off colour and out of sorts tonight.
Very, very much so. I wouldn't be surprised if Mickey Hart made the ultimate decision of holding up number 11. I think I'd consider that, and maybe bring on Kevin Hughes, because they're getting beaten physically on the middle, and Ger Cavlin hasn't impressed in the last 40 minutes either.
Well, Owen Mulligan, coming into this game, was Tyrone's top scorer in this competition, yet to open his account tonight. Cork lead by 2 points, but Tyrone are beginning to knit some passes together. Justin McMahon, Colin McCullough slipped back inside to Enda McGinley, bundled over by the last man, Noel O'Leary. And Noel O'Leary has been spoken to now on a number of occasions, and the wing back is in a little bit of trouble.
We spoke on the way down about Noel O'Leary, his intention that he's inclined to foul too much. He can have no complaints. He got a red card 2 weeks ago, and he needs to not allow that to happen. He just needs to be a little bit more disciplined. That's why he's going to get a yellow card.
Well, it was the run from Enda McGinley that drew that foul. Yellow card and a booking for Noel O'Leary, and he will now have to be on his best behaviour. Stephen O'Neill with a chance to punish that indiscretion. Off the post and wide. Incredible.
Incredible. Two amazing misses. You could have put your SSIA on that. A free in, grabs around, most definitely a free in, but incredible that Stephen O'Neill would have missed that.
Well, you can just hear a buzz of anticipation around Páirc Rinn.
10 awarded to Tyrone. The frees haven't been. Aidan Mangan has kept the nice tight thing in it, but unbelievable the misses that Tyrone have had. Both Mulligan and O'Neill could cost them the 2 points tonight.
Cork now are beginning to feed off those misses. Owen Mulligan, so dangerous, but on this occasion again, Cork and Michael Shields deal very capably with the threat. Wide ball.
One change here. Owen Mulligan is now on the edge of the square. He's done nothing at 11, so he's pushed in there, and O'Neill is out. So Mickey Hart, I'd say he could have said to Owen Mulligan, shape up or you'll be out beside me very quickly. Mulligan has been completely non-existent thus far.
Well, Tyrone have been cruising through games so far in this competition, but now the question is asked, will that man in the grey hat, Brian Dooher, looking very perplexed at this moment, will he be needed? His rehabilitation from injury almost complete, and you do get the feeling that Tyrone needs somebody now to take this game by the scruff of the neck. Many of their big names just a little bit out of sorts. Little bit of a rolling maul beginning to develop. Aidan Mangan says free to Tyrone. Time is of the essence now for Ger Cavlin. Very little movement inside. Cavlin will knock it in towards the new look full forward, Owen Mulligan. Knocked away. Again, the pass is loose. Ger Spillane has some work to do. Does well to find Anthony Lynch. Pressed back into a corner. Kevin McMahon wins this free. No shortage of industry and effort from Tyrone, but the end product just lacking. Kevin McMahon growing into this game now. Just strolling forward. Kevin O'Sullivan spots Sean O'Brien. Back to McMahon, rides the tackle. This is James Masters. Chance for Masters to drive home the advantage. That he does. James Masters makes it look very easy indeed. It's a 3-point game.
A wonderful score, wonderful score. As you can see, a bit high there on Sean O'Brien there, but wonderful score by Masters, well linked up. He's a sweet left foot, and that's a wonderful kick. Again, the defenders weren't tight enough on his boot, but I think Joe Cavlin needs to be bought. No, bring on Kevin Hughes. Joe Cavlin, he's run out of steam at this stage.
Well, the Tyrone corner back, Mickey McGee, is down and injured, and this could make a bad situation for Tyrone even worse. Very experienced cornerback. He's been having a fair old battle with that Cork full forward line, and if Mickey Hart was to lose him now, it would really leave his defence short-handed.
Well, I guess they've a super player. It's a great stuff to have. They've Philip Jordan just back from Australia now, so they could bring him on wing back and put someone back, but it looks maybe like it's his AC joint. He went in very, very committed, but that big guy there, Kevin McMahon, he took the tackle, perfectly legitimate. McMahon has made a difference tonight, and you can see a wonderful, wonderful score by James Masters. I make that his 4th point tonight.
Well, Tyrone have really found themselves in a battle here at Páirc Rinn. Second favourites now to win the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship. Seen by many people as dead certs for the knockout stages of the National Football League.
9 kickouts, only 1 clean catch. I think Cork are still doing very well. 10 and 3, very little clean catching, but any of it that has been done, Cork have picked up the breaks. They're in complete control at the moment.
Cork now 3 points in front. Owen Sexton into the space. Cork's forward line moving like they haven't for many months now. Donegal O'Connor going to take McGinley for a run. Too much traffic, much too tight, and that man Mickey McGee in the thick of it.
Good lay off Michael McGee, completely recovered. Great power, great pace, and great passion to come out with that ball. Tyrone need a little bit more of that, or they're going to find themselves going home empty-handed.
Well, we did tell you at the outset, Tyrone under the management of Mickey Hart have never lost to Cork. 3 wins and a draw. But tonight, that record and their 100% record on the line.
Alan O'Connor, who has done well since he came in, a little bit lazy, puts his hands on him, you can't do that. Aidan Mangan, good refereeing, stop it early and get them out, but O'Connor has impressed despite that foul there.
Well, Tyrone have had to make a change in their defence. Mickey McGee picked up that knock to his shoulder. He's off, and in comes Peter Donnelly. Started at full back against Fermanagh last time out in the league, and in to that last line once more. Enda McGinley tackled high by James Masters. Masters accepting responsibility, but the referee will want a quick word as well.
Yeah, it'll probably be a yellow card. There's no malicious. James automatically knows he's done wrong, and I'd say it'll probably be yellow, but Masters has worked very, very hard all night, and you know, it was just over intention of trying to stop the man coming out, but no maliciousness whatsoever.
Well, it looks like Peter Donnelly, the Tyrone substitute, has been handed the responsibility of marking James Masters for the final 20 odd minutes. And that is a very onerous task for the young student from Jordanstown. So Davy Hart to take the free for Tyrone. Mopped up by Ger Spillane. And space here for Noel O'Leary. Away goes the wing back. Looking up. He struck it beautifully. It's sailing back off the post. That would have been a majestic score from O'Leary. And it almost would have wiped out that yellow card in the minds of the Cork supporters. Just a lick of paint separating Cork from another score.
The next goal is very, very important. If Cork could get it, it gives them that little bit extra forehead. Tyrone need to score. They haven't scored enough, and they're all behind the ball, so they need to try and get into Mulligan and see his man any interest at all tonight.
Well, you really only write off Tyrone at your peril, but Cork and their defence in particular look like they're beginning to shut up shop. Owen Sexton picking out his man. Cork finding their men. Donncha O'Connor still full of running. Now Kieran O'Connor. 2 options. One of them is Kevin O'Sullivan. Standing literally beside him was James Masters. O'Sullivan popped off to Ger Spillane, who just stole forward. Now Masters. Little bit of room. Looks like it's not going to carry. It's there for whoever wants it. Down goes Pascal McConnell. And the Tyrone keeper does his job, wins his free. But it was another chance for Cork to kick that score that would push them 4 clear.
4 clear. You're not going to stop Pascal McConnell coming out, but impressive there was Kevin O'Sullivan and his work rate. He wasn't backed away, he was up for the game, and that's why Cork are in the lead. They're playing very, very well now, and Tyrone are looking for a bit of magic, and they'll probably have to get Sean Cavan to do it.
Nice little sidestep. Davy Hart needs to go back, picks out Ger Cavlin. Well taken by Ryan Mellon. Rides the tackle. Again, Cork's defending is uncompromising. And Anthony Lynch cleared, but there was a late tackle on Michael Shields, and Aidan Mangan has blown his whistle.
Yeah, I think Owen Mulligan is going to be in trouble here. He was frustrated as the ball came in, and I think he just maybe let back the elbow. Shield is down and well down, and yeah, Owen Mulligan, a red card. He can have no complaints. I think, you know, he might have let back the elbow there, but he's been very, very frustrated all night, and this really puts it up to Tyrone, and it looks like Cork are in great position at the moment. As you can see there, it looks like he maybe just gave him a little tip in the face, but once you raise your hand, it's a red card.
So Tyrone down to 14 men. Owen Mulligan sent off. 17 and a half minutes left.
He was stopped on the way out, he pulled him, and yes, I think from the vision Aidan Mangan have got it, he could have no option but to give him a red card, and to be fair to Owen Mulligan, I think he knows he's done wrong. He's just walked away with his head down.
Well, it was a very frustrating night for Owen Mulligan, never got going, and now sent off by Aidan Mangan. and Tyrone's very difficult situation has been magnified all of a sudden. Kevin McMahon. Hard to believe Cork have not yet won a game in the league. McMahon again. Down he went. Play on, says the referee. Free out, and Cork are far from happy.
As you can see here, Kevin McMahon getting on the ball. Good tackle. The ball goes to ground. And he just kind of pulled it up. Yeah, I think Aidan Mangan was right in that situation. Very, very unfortunate. McMahon has been good, but he did scoop the ball off the ground.
Certainly looked like McMahon was pulled for a technical foul, and Tyrone play away. Stephen O'Neill now out on the 40. Finds Colin McCullough. No support outside. Instead clips it in, but well read by Ger Spillane. That's why the centre back from Ballygarvan is an all-star just now. This is Alan O'Connor. The pass overhit, but Kieran O'Connor read his intentions. Support outside, no Tyrone player within 20 yards of O'Connor. Now they're moving across. Tyrone look out on their feet. Masters inside to Kevin O'Sullivan. Checks his stride, back to Masters. Cork cutting through. Masters! 5 points for the corner forward. 9 for Tyrone, or 9 for Cork rather. And they're now 4 clear.
Yeah, it's all Cork at the moment. No one could have predicted this. I don't know Nostradamus wouldn't have predicted this. 9 out of 22, but the most important thing is they've got 9, not a good enough average, less than 50%, but 5 out of 14. In teaching terms, Mike, that's a knee.
Well, Tyrone, just at this moment, look like they're hanging on the ropes, and Cork have found that second wind.
Yeah, it's all Cork now. I think that's Stephen O'Neill down there, but it's all Cork at the moment, playing very, very fluidly. You mentioned James Masters, but for me at the moment, Ger Spillane has been magnificent at centre-back, very talismanic man, all-star, and Anthony Lynch.
15 minutes left, a quarter of an hour for Tyrone to turn this situation around, and Mickey Hart, well, he really now has his work cut out.
Yeah, he doesn't look happy there. He'd be annoyed. They've come down, they've a lot of expense. I suppose Cork's backs are to the wall, and you have to do that. Derry McCarran, sorry, the white things confused me there, but from that point of view, Mickey Hart won't be happy, playing poorly, and he looks like he could be losing another man with true injury here as well. I think they should bring on Kevin Hughes.
Well, you will have nights like this throughout the course of a season, and it looks like anything that could go wrong for Tyrone just now is going wrong. Dermot Carlin helped off the field, and this will force Mickey Hart to delve deep into his dugout once more. So Tyrone just about to make that change. It looks like they're also taking out number 8, Ger Cavlin. This is Kevin Hughes. In he comes. His suspension overturned just last night. His second yellow card that he received in the McKenna Cup final was rescinded. He's in. Ger Cavlin taken out.
Yeah, and not before time. You mentioned Ger Cavlin. I played against him in 1995. 12 years later, it's very hard to play inter-county at midfield.
So Paul Quinn, number 28, who's on the ball straight away, he's in to replace Dermot Carlin, who's gone off injured, and Kevin Hughes into midfield for Tyrone in place of Ger Cavlin. So Mickey Hart trying everything now to get his team moving once more.
I feel a little bit late. He has made changes, but I think this has been on the wall. Maybe at half time he could have made changes, and I did flag the point that Owen Mulligan was very, very frustrated himself. If a player's playing poorly and he's not happy in his skin, maybe take him out a little bit earlier. But who am I to criticise Mickey Hart?
Tyrone have scored just 1 point now in 28 minutes of football, almost half an hour, and just 1 score. That is just one of many reasons why they find themselves 4 points behind. Derek Kavanagh, his 7th season with the Cork senior football team. Well, just there for a moment he looked like a novice, but it all worked out. And here's Kavanagh once more. Back to Owen Sexton. Cork playing the kind of football now in this second half that powered them to the Munster title last year.
53% Cork, It looks like even more on the field of play now. The complete control since Mulligan went off, and if they could get 1 or 2 more points ahead, it'd be a great morale boosting score for them.
Kevin O'Sullivan, lovely sidestep, beautiful score. Corner backs are pouring forward. O'Sullivan's on fire. That's a hat-trick of points, double scores.
Yeah, playing very, very well, the Ilan Rovers man. All Cork double scores. Who could have predicted this? Very, playing very well there at the moment.
Well, Kieran O'Connor, the left corner back, he provided that final pass. And Cork 5 points clear now. Conor Gormley, very little options, waiting. Eventually a player makes himself available. Davy Hart. Well, Tyrone have turned in some fluid, almost flawless performances earlier this month. Tonight has not been one of them. They have 12 minutes or thereabouts left to turn this game around. Michael Shields, he has not put a foot wrong. Donegal O'Connor now. Good ball into Kevin O'Sullivan. He's going to take on McGinley. Back outside to Masters, this time off the right. He struck it well. Nothing, just nothing going wrong for Cork.
Great layback, and Masters has improved. Great score off his right foot this time. He's on fire at the moment, and there's nobody that can mark him. He's really in the zone.
That's half a dozen points now for James Masters. 10 in all in the National Football League. And Sean Kavanagh and Tyrone have been rocked right back in their heels. Again, possession won by Cork. Dermot Hurley. There are runners left, right and centre. It's Masters. Chasing after him is Peter Donnelly. Loose man is Donegal O'Connor. The snapshot. This is poetry in motion from Cork. 2 points in 60 seconds, and Donegal O'Connor, well, he earned and deserved that score.
Fine score. Little right foot pick up, good layback. O'Connor takes it in, all confident at the moment. Fine score. Masters sets it up, lovely layback, but a fine score. Tyrone on the ropes.
Well, just to remind you, over 140 minutes of football in the National Football League. Cork had scored just 13 times. They've helped themselves to a dozen scores tonight. Everything has gone right.
Well, one considers that Nicholas Murphy is also absent. He's a big player for them normally. He's out with flu. But it's the work rate and it's the passion. Cork working really hard. As I said, you have to when your backs to the wall. But the big stars for Tyrone having Sean and Cork 12-5. What more can one say?
Here's Sean Kavanagh. Double marked. James Masters. The corner forward is the player pushing him out. This is Kevin Hughes. It's close. Good goalkeeping again by Paddy O'Shea. O'Shea, good hands, and away go Cork with Michael Shields from St. Finbar's. This is Noel O'Leary from Kilnamartyra. Stretching his legs. Back to Derek Kavanagh. Good ball in over the top for O'Sullivan. Kevin O'Sullivan holding up the point of attack, kicking for the score. This is one-way traffic. 8 points now the margin, and that's 4 for Kevin O'Sullivan.
As you can see, over 120 by Cork, very effective. The key thing is there'll be 200 in this game. Effective for Cork today, but won't be that effective during the summer, but it's done the business for them tonight.
Well, it was a much different story in the opening round against Donegal here at Páirc Rinn. Cork beaten that night and far from happy. They also lost to Kerry, of course, a fortnight ago. But it looks like they're well on their way to their first points of this year's Allianz National Football League, trying to drive home their advantage. Lovely little necklace of passes, and now Kevin McMahon stroking that ball to Masters, back to O'Connor. At times this is resembling a training spin now. Back to McMahon, lovely dummy. Just strolling forward, still McMahon. This is exhibition stuff from Cork. What a score, and Tyrone are being made to look very, very ordinary indeed.
And a lot of us pundits are being made to look silly, because a lot of people would have gone for Cork to lose tonight, but wonderful score by McMahon from Carby Rangers. Great score. Tyrone seem to have lost all direction and sense of focus, particularly since Mulligan's gone on, but even at half-time 6-4, but they've absolutely disintegrated at the moment. And the only thing from Mickey Hart's point of view, it'll give him a fine stick to train them over the next 2 weeks.
Well, it looks like this will be a result that will send shockwaves across the Gaelic football landscape this weekend. Tyrone, red-hot favourites to preserve their unbeaten record, 7 matches without defeat in 2007. But Cork have delivered a 5-star performance. Derek Kavanagh, their captain, driving them on. Good defending by Peter Donnelly. Now Enda McGinley. Again, Cork in there competing for every ball. Ger Spillane did just enough. And now Kevin McMahon, the wing forward, recalled to the team tonight. Free out, says Aidan Mangan. That ball was thrown.
Very good stat here. 13 of Cork's points have been from play, 5 of them James Masters, Tyrone 5, very, very poor, but that's a great stat. 13 points all from play. Cork can do no wrong tonight.
Now it's almost 36 minutes have elapsed, and in that time Tyrone have scored just once, and that I'm sure is creating some kind of modern day record. Sean Kavanagh out of the game. Here's Kevin Hughes, and again the shot lacked power. Michael Shields. Cork playing like Munster champions just now. This will reinvigorate their season. Kieran O'Connor. Cork still full of running. Donnacha O'Connor selling dummies to beat the band over there. Finds his man, Kevin O'Sullivan. Back to O'Connor. Plenty of space. It's the corner back, Kieran O'Connor. Where does he get his energy? Back to Sean O'Brien. He wants a score. Just wide.
Wide, they can afford to do that at this stage, but you know, they're playing very, very well. Tyrone have thrown in the white towel really at this stage. But for Cork, if they could get to 15 and beat them by 3 times the score, very, very impressive. That's what Tyrone are reduced to now, short kickouts. We know who's going to win at this stage.
Well, the Cork manager Billy Morgan saying during the week that he was building for championship. That game comes on the 20th of May against Limerick, and this performance tonight will make training and the return to training for Cork a little easier during the week. They're going to run their bench. They're bringing in 2 substitutes. One of them is Daniel Goulding and the other is Michael Cussin. Michael Shields and Sean O'Brien, the players who are being taken out. Cork's reasons for substitutions now much different from Tyrone's. Raymond Mulgrew kicking for what at this stage looks like it will be a consolation score, but not a bad one at that. That's Tyrone's first score in almost half an hour.
Yeah, fantastic score by Mulgrew, and if you like that score, you get an opportunity to see him in the Sigerson Cup next weekend. Very, very important. I think that's on in Jordanstown. And interesting, Colm Cavan is only a sub with his team there, but fine score, 14-6, and you know, I'm very surprised by this, but Cork have been terrific.
Well, Kevin O'Sullivan is taking a well-deserved drink.
My man of the match at this stage, I'd have to go with some people would think James Masters, but no, Ger Spillane for me would have been the Setanta man of the match. The Alliance man of the match, played really, really well. Frustrated Mulligan, was the linchpin at centre back, all-star, super player.
So Ger Spillane in his 3rd season with the Cork senior football team is the man of the match. Looks like all the business is wrapped up here with just minutes remaining. Ryan Mellon wanted that quick free, but Cork's defence showing all their experience there to funnel back and in around the player quickly. Well, it looks like Aidan Mangan didn't like the reaction of Anthony Lynch there, and a yellow card for the wing back. The free to Tyrone, kicked by Ryan Mellon over the bar, but at this stage merely a token gesture. Cork home and hosed, and Tyrone, hard to believe, Ray, we're saying this, but just looking now to gloss that final scoreline.
Very much so. James Masters 6 fine points, Kevin O'Sullivan also 4. They're the key guys, but all over has been a fine work rate. Spillane there, he's focused, he's keen, he's a big strong guy, he's been hugely impressive. Likewise, Noel O'Leary and Anthony Lynch, I know they got yellows, but they're very, very impressive. For me, 5, 6 and 7, particularly Spillane, but who could have predicted this? I definitely didn't.
Well, Páirc Rinn has played host tonight to a famous Cork victory, their first of this year's Allianz National Football League, and Billy Morgan, well, he looks rejuvenated too. Here they go, looking for another score. Player racing into space is Kevin McMahon. Well, McMahon has been outstanding tonight, but he will not get his second score.
34 minutes, 17 in play, 50-50, quite similar to the second half, but fine. It's been a good game, entertaining game. The quality wasn't poor, but I think we have to keep it in context that Tyrone are second favourites for the All-Ireland. They're missing Dooher, Philip Jordan, some of these guys, but a good win for Cork nonetheless.
Cork are about to introduce number 18, Owen Cadogan from Douglas. He was dropped from the team that played Kerry, a member of their under-21 side last year. He's going to come in for the dying seconds. Cork are not finished yet. This is Peter Donnelly, another player who will be involved in the Sigerson Cup next weekend with Jordanstown. Davy Hart outside to the substitute for Tyrone, that's Paul Quinn. Again, the pass misplaced, and it will be a very long journey home for Tyrone tomorrow. Anthony Lynch back to Alan O'Connor. Now Kevin O'Sullivan, player galloping inside is Derek Kavanagh. Still O'Sullivan, now pops it to Kavanagh. Round the corner, very close, just not quite close enough. Ray, Cork will be moving away from the basement of Division 1A tonight, and deservedly so.
Correct, and it's a lesson to every team, be they club, be they county, or under 14, under 16. If you've got the right attitude on a particular night, the right work rate and the right passion, you win games. Cork were not expected to win tonight, but they played really, really well, and they've worked their guts out, and that makes a difference. That's why they've won by double scores.
There you see confirmation of that change. Owen Cadogan in for Noel O'Leary. Cork, they're away to Dublin in 2 weeks' time, and that trip to the capital will be a lot more positive now.
55% possession by Cork, but they used it very, very well. That statistic, the most important one of the night, 13 points from play by Cork, but they have done very, very well. Masters with 6, O'Sullivan with 4. Well done to Cork.
Tyrone on the attack. In a fortnight's time, they're at home to Donegal. That will be a big, big game now. Points so crucial in this competition this season. Down to win that ball is the man of the match, Ger Spillane. Now Anthony Lynch. Little tug on the jersey there. All works out for Cork. Kevin McMahon. Tyrone backpedaling. So much space. Kieran O'Connor, the corner back. He loves to go forward. This is O'Sullivan. Pushed in the back. Well, once more, Tyrone's defence marked absent, and Cork only too happy to take advantage. Billy Morgan and his selectors waiting for the final whistle. We're deep into stoppage time as Kevin O'Sullivan lines up this kick. This would be his 5th of the match. What a way to finish for Kevin O'Sullivan. 8 points the margin, and the corner forward from Illan Rovers, he will sleep soundly tonight. It's all over, says the referee Aidan Mangan. 3rd time lucky for Cork. They win for the first time in the Allianz National Football League. Tyrone beaten for the first time this year, and Mickey Hart and Billy Morgan shake hands at the end of it all. Full-time score from Páirc Rinn after 70 absorbing minutes. Cork 15 points, Tyrone 7 points.
Well, that leaves a lot of people eating their hats. Where did that performance come from Cork tonight? And perhaps more importantly, what happened to Tyrone? Cork simply rejuvenated, and suddenly the Division 1A table now wide open. A reminder that our next live Allianz National Football League match is on March the 10th. We'll be at Healy Park in Omagh for Tyrone against Donegal. That suddenly becomes a real make or break match for Tyrone. And don't forget, our live league action continues right throughout March and into April. And next Monday, the Setanta Sports Cup 1A wide open. We said at the very, very outset this was a must-win match for Cork. It certainly looked on the balance of that play that Tyrone, well, they didn't want it as much as Cork tonight. So many stars in red shirts tonight. It could have been James Masters, Kevin O'Sullivan, a fine display. The man of the match, though, is Ger Spillane, and at Páirc Uí Rinn he's standing by with Mal Keaveney.
Pascal Baker, Sales and Marketing Manager of Allianz in Cork, here. The Man of the Match award. The most deserving recipient is Ger Spillane.
Well done, great win.
Ger, if I could have a word with you, how important is tonight's win from a Cork perspective?
It was very important for us tonight, especially after our first 2 defeats in the league to Donegal first and then Kerry. We were under a small bit of pressure tonight. We had to perform, and we got the result.
How come Cork played so well tonight, given what happened in the last 2 outings?
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose they were a rude awakening for us. They put us in danger of being relegated, but hopefully we'll build on it now.
The attack in the past wasn't hitting all the right notes, but tonight 13 points from play.
Yeah, I suppose it's easy to blame the attack in the past, but maybe it was we're all on the one team. Maybe it was our build-up play and the whole lot. You know, we were all failing, not just the forwards, but at least tonight it came right for us, and hopefully will for the rest of the league.
Worthy winner of Man of the Match then tonight, Ger Spillane there talking to Mal Keaveney. Well, we in this studio a couple of weeks ago after the defeat to Kerry were very critical of Billy Morgan and his players. Let's find out what the Cork manager has to say. He's with Mal.
Billy, how relieved are you here tonight at the outcome of this match?
Does it show that much? I'm relieved, and even if we had lost tonight, I thought the performance was the important thing coming from us, and particularly from our forwards. And of course, the win was very, very important. If we had lost here tonight, you're looking at relegation, whereas now this probably puts us back into the league or into the frame.
What pleased you most about tonight's display?
Well, I thought every sector of the field performed. Our defence was very good, it was excellent. Our midfield, we dominated up there, and I thought moved the ball well, and our forwards, I suppose that's the most pleasing aspect, because that has been our Achilles heel over the last year or two, that we're not scoring enough to win these matches. So, putting 15 points on the board is very, very pleasing.
How encouraging is that for the rest of the National League?
Well, you see, in the section that we are in, it's a very, very difficult one, much more difficult than the other section, and there are no easy games. We have Dublin away in 2 weeks' time, and that is not going to be easy by any measure of means. But I think a lot of people don't realise that we are actually missing 8 of our panel tonight. 9 if you conclude David Niblock, who's in America but will be home, and most of them would be considered first teamers, but after this display tonight maybe they'll be looking over at their shoulders. Hopefully we'll get a few players back before the end of the league and challenge a bit stronger.
Eugene McGee, just how impressed were you with Cork tonight, especially in that second half? They blew Tyrone away.
Well, I was impressed at 2 levels. One was their attitude, and the other was their actual technical performance. And the technical performance was mainly based on that old fallback when you're in trouble, hard work. They were up, their backs were against the wall today. They were playing, in theory, the best team in the country just at the moment. They had lost the last 2 matches, so they had to resort to number 1 work. like a devil from start to finish, every man of the team, and they did that. Then, as Tyrone began to go back and back and back, Cork's confidence, you could almost feel it zooming up, and they got scores there from impossible angles. All they had to do, Kevin O'Sullivan and Masters, dropped the ball to the boot and seemed to go over as with radar control. But Cork deserve enormous credit for that victory, and Billy Morgan in particular too, because, you know, everybody thought, including us, so-called experts, everybody thought that Cork would be doing well to get within 5 or 6 points of them. But they demoralised Tyrone there tonight. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Tyrone, that is the worst performance I can remember from Tyrone under the reign of Mickey Hart, because they had plenty of time to save the game right up to 10 minutes from the end, but yet they never looked like doing it.
Paul, briefly, we've got a break to take and we're going to analyse the match in more depth in a moment, but is it possible to put your finger on what happened to Tyrone tonight?
Well, the beauty of this game is its unpredictability, and you never really know what's going to happen next. And Tyrone looked flat all through the game, and they looked flat in the first half against Dublin in their first live game in Croke Park. But you know, they hit the afterburners after half time. They didn't tonight, but you know, a lot of that credit has to be down to the Cork team, who right down the middle, their middle spine played very well, particularly defensive and midfield. But Tyrone looked like a team certainly out of sorts, demoralised towards the end, and that's very, very unusual for us watching Tyrone over the last number of years.
Okay, well, we're going to take a short break while we try and figure out exactly what happened to Cork tonight and why, what happened to Tyrone rather, and why Cork were so good. Join us for detailed match analysis in just a moment. And if you're a Sky customer and you want to subscribe to Setanta Sports in the Republic of Ireland, call 0818 20 30 40. From Northern Ireland, dial 08 750 69 59.
On the left-hand side, and Stephen O'Neill on the right, and then on Mulligan, you know, frustration, there's no doubt about that. He lost a ball that he normally would have won. Michael Shields picked it up, and in the effort to dispossess him, he swung a fist, and it looks like there's no doubt it's a clear striking offence, and he'll be out for a few matches, there's no doubt about that. But you know, it was a reflection of the way things were going for Tyrone tonight. Nothing went right for them at all, and on Mulligan, I'm sure it was frustration. It's not like him, but you know, at the particular time as well, they went down to 14 men, and Cork just steamrolled to the finish line.
Eugene, when Mickey Hart looks back at the match analysis of this game, Tyrone had plenty of possession. Even in the second half, they got into good positions, but sometimes their passing was very, very poor, and crucially for Cork tonight, they punished them.
Yeah, it was very untypical Tyrone football. Anybody who remembers the second half against Dublin, what they came out and just stormed through the middle against the Dublin defence, walked straight through them. Now here we have a pass. Colin McCulloch had the ball, and he could have taken a point, because he's been brilliantly taking scores in recent games and should have been confident. But instead of that, he tries a convoluted pass to the left wing, which is intercepted by Gerard Spillane. And as we watch this ball going down the field with Cork, you notice Cork players are unmarked all over the place. Look at this here, it's like a kids game. There's two of them there, there's another one just on the left there, all over the place. Tyrone backs don't know where they're coming and going, and eventually it finds its way into the corner. Even then Tyrone can't close it down, and there's James Masters to score his typical left-footed point. Now that was a net loss of 2. Here we have another Tyrone ball, again directed out very tightly towards the sideline, again, intercepted again by Spillane, I think, and away Cork come again. And once again, if you notice here now, as this goes down the field, it's slow in the motion, and no urgency from Tyrone. This is what I can't understand about Tyrone tonight. You know, they look completely out of shape, mentally, physically, every other way. They're slow to the ball. Cork players seem to have ages on the ball. This is Rinn Rosie's type football here in the middle of the field in a vital National League game with Tyrone. You never expect that. Here they are, Cork again. Again, there's two players there. Another man in the corner, again unmarked, almost a replica of the previous one. Where is the Tyrone defence? The much vaunted tight marking of Tyrone, the blanket defence, absent. And here we are all the time to work it into the corner, back in again, and this time it's Kevin O'Sullivan who shoots a lovely point again from the left corner. So that's so untypical of Tyrone. I don't know what happened to Tyrone. They stayed in Tipperary last night. Maybe there's something in the water in Tipperary, but it was just so untypical, and maybe that's a good sign for Mickey Hart, because they've never played that bad under his jurisdiction, and you know, he may hope that this is just strictly a once-off.
Eugene, Paul Early, we were talking about James Masters at half time. We've seen the good and the bad. He missed a 45, took a couple of good scores. In the second half, he was absolutely inspirational.
He was, yeah. It was very important for him to put in a big performance tonight, because if he was going to score well, then Cork had a chance, and he scored some terrific scores in the second half. He kicked I think it was 6 in total, 5 from play. That's a beautiful one early on in the second half on his left foot, under a bit of pressure, and he can do that. He did that all last season, particularly in the Munster Championship, and he was showing for the ball. He was playing. You could see the confidence oozing out of the players as the game developed, and James Masters is a crucial player for Cork, and again here doesn't need much time, gets the ball, swings it onto his left, very quickly kicks it over the bar. But to be a really top class forward, you need to be able to kick with both feet, and he was able to kick a beautiful point with his right foot towards the end as well. So a great display from James Masters.
And let's see, we've already said it blows the Division 1A table right up, and there you see it, Eugene. It's really all to play for now.
Yeah, well, Tyrone, if Donegal, they're playing Dublin tomorrow in Donegal. Well, we don't know if they, for argument's sake, were to win that, then they go to Omagh as leaders with full points. Tyrone playing at home, and there'll be a big crowd there, at least 10,000 I would say, for that match. There'll be no shortage of atmosphere that night. It's a big test for them. You know, Cork have to come to Dublin next now, which isn't obviously going to be easy. It's wide open basically, that's the bottom line. You know, for Manor playing Kerry tomorrow, they're going through a bad patch, but could jerk out very quickly too. They're a much better team than their first two games would indicate. So it'll be wide open, but the stakes are fierce high here, because some two teams from that division are going to end up in Division 3 next year, which is a gigantic drop.
Okay, well, we've more great live sport for you tonight over on the Setanta Golf Channel. The third round of the Mayakoba Classic in Cancun in Mexico is underway, so turn over to Setanta Golf right after this. Well, it's been a fantastic night. Guys, thanks very much for being with us. We didn't get the result we expected. We saw a fine performance, though, from Cork. So after a couple of lacklustre performances, Cork answered their critics in spades with a deserved victory tonight over the pace setters Tyrone. Owen Mulligan sent off on a frustrating night for the Ulstermen. We'll be in Omagh in a couple of weeks' time to see if Mickey Hart's men can respond against Donegal. Páirc Rinn, though, belong to James Masters and his Cork colleagues tonight. The Munster champions, quite simply, a different team. We'll see you next time. Good night.